It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. A day I had been dreaming of for years. The morning was perfect. Sunlight filtered through the windows as I dressed in my tuxedo, nervous but filled with anticipation. I looked at myself in the mirror, trying to calm my racing heart. In just a few hours, I would be standing at the altar, waiting for her, the woman I loved more than anything. The ceremony was set to take place in the grand church where her parents had married. The air was thick with excitement. Our families were there, friends smiling in their Sunday best, and the soft hum of wedding music floated in the background. I could hear the murmur of guests as they waited for the bride to appear. Every part of me was eager for the moment when I would see her walking down the aisle, her eyes locked on mine, filled with love and joy. As the minutes passed, the excitement began to fade into confusion. I glanced at the clock. Time was moving, but she wasn't here. The murmur of the crowd grew louder, the whispers of concern starting to fill the space. My mind raced. What was happening? I checked my phone. No messages, no calls, just an empty inbox. I waited. More minutes. Then an hour. Something wasn't right. I stepped up to one of the ushers. "Has anyone heard from her?" I asked, voice shaking. They hadn't. Panic gripped me. I went backstage to call her, my hands trembling as I dialed her number. The phone rang once, twice, and then straight to voicemail. I tried again and again, each time more desperate, each ring further unraveling the calm I had once felt. She wasn't answering. The whispers from the guests grew louder, more pronounced. My mother was crying. She had no idea what had happened. I stood there, frozen, staring at the empty aisle. The woman I was about to marry had disappeared, without a word, without any explanation. I felt an overwhelming sense of shame and confusion. How could she just leave me here? Was there something I had missed? Some sign I failed to see? As I stood there, trying to hold back tears, the reality hit. She wasn't coming. And in that moment, I couldn't make sense of anything. I was left standing at the altar, the weight of the world pressing on my shoulders, and the only thing I knew for sure was that the future I had been planning, the life I had dreamed of, had just crumbled before my eyes. The days that followed were a blur. The wedding was called off. Guests were sent home, and the reception hall, once filled with laughter and celebration, stood empty. I couldn't bring myself to face anyone. The shame, the confusion, it all clung to me like a heavy coat I couldn't take off. I tried to keep going, to distract myself with work, with mundane tasks that filled the day, but nothing could fill the void. I felt hollow inside. She had disappeared without a trace, and for months, I had no idea why. No one had heard from her. Her phone was disconnected. I called every number I could think of, every friend she had, but each attempt returned with more silence. The questions haunted me. What had happened? Why hadn't she told me? Did she not love me anymore? The days stretched on, turning into weeks, then months. I went through the motions of life, but I was numb. I dated a few times, tried to move on, but nothing felt real. No one could ever compare to her. The worst part wasn't just the emptiness she left, it was the unanswered questions. I wanted to understand. I needed closure. But the longer it went on, the more it felt like the answers would never come. Then, a year later, just when I thought I had started to accept it, my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but when I picked it up, I knew immediately who it was. Her voice, shaky and hesitant, broke through the silence. "I need to see you," she said, her words nearly drowned out by the sound of her crying. "Please, we need to talk." We agreed to meet at a small cafe downtown. When I arrived, my heart was pounding in my chest. I wasn't sure what to expect. Was she going to apologize? Would she explain why she had disappeared? I tried to calm myself, but all I could think of was the way she had left me, standing alone in front of everyone we knew. When I saw her sitting at a table by the window, my breath caught in my throat. She looked different, older, more worn. Her eyes were red from crying, and there was an undeniable heaviness to her presence. She looked up at me as I sat down, but she didn't say anything right away. There was an awkward silence, the kind that stretches on forever, until finally she spoke. "I'm sorry," she began, her voice thick with emotion. "I never wanted to hurt you. But I had to leave. I waited, my stomach twisting as I tried to understand. Why? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Why didn't you tell me? She took a deep breath, her eyes looking everywhere but at me. Because I found something I couldn't ignore. Something about your family. Something that made it impossible for me to go through with the wedding. Her words hung in the air like a heavy fog. My mind raced as she explained. She had discovered a terrible truth about my father, a truth that changed everything. His company, the one I had always admired, the one I had hoped to inherit one day, was responsible for a fire that had destroyed her family's home years ago. Her parents had died in that fire. I sat there, stunned, unable to comprehend what she was saying. How could this be true? I had never heard anything about it. How could my father have kept such a secret from me? She explained that she had learned about the fire just days before the wedding, but she couldn't bring herself to marry me knowing what my family had done to hers. I couldn't be with you, not when I knew the truth, she said. I had to leave. Not just for me, but for you too. You deserve to know the truth, but I didn't want you to be dragged into it. Her words cut through me like a knife. I felt betrayed, not just by her, but by my own family. My father had hidden this from me. How could he have kept something so significant from me for so long? The silence between us was deafening. I couldn't find the words. What was I supposed to say? The woman I loved had left me because of something I never knew, something that shook my entire world. And now, I was faced with the reality that everything I had known was a lie. She reached out, her hand trembling. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. Can you forgive me? I looked at her, my heart torn between the love I still felt for her and the hurt I was experiencing. The truth had come to light, but I wasn't sure what to do with it. Could I forgive her for leaving me? Could I forgive my father for hiding the truth from me? I don't know, I said, standing up. I need time. I walked out of the cafe, the weight of everything she had said pressing down on me. I didn't have the answers. I didn't know what would happen next. But for the first time in a year, I felt like I had a choice. And maybe that was enough for now.